Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I am Nerdbird, the man keeping his fingers on the pulse of the community and the gaming development of all the games that we enjoy playing and making sure that we are staying in line with each other to continue an interesting and fun, creative future for all of us in our gaming experiences. Today what we want to do is take a quick look at the latest video that has been dropped as the second chapter of the Dune Awakening roadmap, which is being noted as the Lost Harvest, along with a free update that will be coming down with that DLC. Of course, we will be paying for the Lost Harvest and we'll be getting the free content because that is obviously the way that goes. And whether or not that's coming at one time or not, we don't really know. Maybe it's going to be spread out over the next 3 months after that DLC has been dropped. But there is one thing that I do want to recognize really quickly, and that is there has been a change in that Lost Harvest DLC content, which was kind of flashing red lights for me and warning signs whenever I saw this posted the other day. That is going to be right here where they had new contract chain with unique locations. Now, it looks as if they have taken the section of the new contract chain with unique locations off of the roadmap that they've put at the end of this trailer, which makes me a little bit happy because anytime you're going to have some kind of quest chain that's being blocked by a paywall, that is just making the game very unbalanced and unfair for a huge chunk of people who may not have the money to pay for the DLC or may just want to test out the game. So they buy the original and then all of a sudden they have to buy the DLC too, just so they can get into this quest chain so that they can catch up with everybody else that is in the game. So I am going to say, on a positive note, before we get into anything and me scrutinizing the way that stuff is being done, this is one of the best things I've seen getting removed from this little September 25 DLC possibility. The new contract chain with unique locations have been dropped off. So hopefully this isn't just a misstep, and hopefully Funcom was able to understand that this is not a good idea. Now, you obviously are going to be getting the season pass with this, so you'll be getting whatever's coming with that season pass. That's going to be great. However, I just want to take a second to watch this video and go through what they are showing us visually and measure that up with what they are telling us overall in this chart. And before we get into that, I just want to make a side note here for everybody to understand. I do not have a bone to pick with Funcom. I like Funcom. I play Conan still to this day. I've always played Conan. I'll probably always play Dune as well. I like both of the games. I like what they put out. I'm not angry at Funcom. Second, I understand this is a new game and that there is room to improve. I always say that as well whenever you see my content. I believe that there could be a future for Dune. My only problem is that in the past few months, I have seen Funcom devs be a little bit stubborn when it comes to making decisions to make this game a more viable option for everybody who is trying to play the game, in terms of the way they're dealing with the deep desert. And of course, before this started up, I was getting a little bit concerned about this new contact chain with unique locations under a paywall. So as you can see, I have reasons for myself to be a little bit concerned, and that is why I make the negative comments I do on Funcom. It's not that I hate Funcom. It's not that I don't want to go out and play other games. I play heaps of games all the time. I make video content on it on my channel all the time. I just want everybody to understand anything that I'm remarking on when it comes to this video or any kind of future updates that Funcom is doing is never because I don't like Funcom and I want to punish them. It is because I see something that I personally believe is not looking fundamentally correct, and I want to express my opinion out into the world so everybody can get a good understanding and a different perspective. That way, whenever it comes time for Funcom to listen to what we're saying, because remember, in Funcom, they always say they are monitoring player feedback, bugs in chat. They're reproducing integrity. They're implementing fixes and improvements. So they are claiming they are listening to us. So if they're going to make that claim, then there is the possibility that they actually are doing so, in which we as gamers need to make sure that our voice is being heard, multiple perspectives coming in to the outlook of what this game is going to be will just strengthen the way that we can get the company to build the game better for us in the future. So with that said, let's take a minute to literally sit down and watch the video. Now, I will be stopping here and there, making comments on certain things that I think are kind of obscure and not really bonuses to what the game development should be thinking about. But once again, this is just my opinion, and we can work through it in that way or not. Without a doubt, let's get started.
The Mithra's in pieces, the cargo's vanished, and no one knows what it really is. Arrakis is full of secrets. Ancient things buried deep. I need your help, stranger. That package is the key to everything. Find it, and don't let anything...
All right, first of all, I got to stop here because I have to... All right, I love the creativity that they're throwing out here with ground vehicles, but I would much rather this company take time to address the fact that ground vehicles are absolutely useless in this game. And the most extreme and the least extreme situations, why put out more ground vehicles? Like, we can't drive these things in the deep desert. If you do, okay, I had a friend the other day tell me, oh, well, maybe this vehicle that they're going to put out in the future are going to make less sound. And then when we saw this, I talked and like sent a message to a friend. They're like, yeah, maybe it's making less vibration so sandworms won't hear it. But I mean, regardless, if somebody in an ornithopter sees you driving this thing in the deep desert, you're dead. Not only that, but I mean, who would want to drive a ground vehicle over the entirety of the deep desert? The deep desert is such a like non-permanent location that it's kind of ridiculous to even bring something like this out. If anything, you're going to bring something out that's going to be for harvesting. Now, okay, we could put this in the Haga Basin, you could say. But, I mean, once again, the problem with Dune is these ground vehicles are great. They look great. They're cool in concept. But the second you unlock ornithopters and build one, like, you never go back to using these things at all. If you do, okay, there might be you guys out there who'll be like, I still use my scooter or I use a buggy all the time. Okay, cool. I'm glad you do it, but okay, you are the absolute minority. The vast majority, like 90 some odd % of the people who play this game, they get an ornithopter, they never use a ground vehicle again. So I would much rather see the company addressing the lack of necessity for a ground vehicle before they start throwing more ground vehicles at us. If you get what my drift is.
Stand in your way.
Still a beautiful vehicle. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
There's been a string of murders across the capital. I don't know who we can trust.
So we do have like this glimpse into the new quest line that will be coming. I don't know. They call it epic. I don't know that I would call it exactly epic, but I mean, maybe this is going to introduce another, 5 or 6 hours of quest time into the game. You have to remember, whenever Dune launched, they told us that the Haga Basin was going to be like 40 to 60 hours of gameplay. And sure, I think the right way to play this game is to actually slow down, take your time, and just go experience everything. But the vast majority of quest lines in Dune Awakening is you traveling from one side of the Haga Basin to the other side, or jumping to the overland map and going through a travel, discovery issue when it comes to that. So I don't really see that quest lines are that epic. I see that they're very long-winded and a lot of travel comes with them. So I mean, it does look good. They are putting some effort into writing some kind of engaging storyline. There's death happening over the cities. They're going to send you out there to try to save the day with it. I'm just not sure that it doesn't look on scale large enough to, be worthy of a DLC. That's part of the reason why I was a little bit upset when I said there's going to be questing content behind a paywall, because if you're not putting out so much questing content, you're going to burn through it quickly, and then it's going to be right back to that deep desert. I don't have anything to do except Landsraad, and go find spice. So address those loops and, make the game more engaging for the long run. More so than just opening up more quest line into the Haga Basin or into the interior of what the game is offering.
You will work with my investigator and stop this killer before he strikes again.
So also in the free update, this is what they're saying. Now, I know I'm not letting this thing play through, and I know that I'm talking my head off about this, but okay, changing the way your player looks, this kind of feels like something they should have worked out before they ever launched this game. I mean, in all fairness, so many games have been launched that have great character customization right off the start. Funcom is a company that has been making games for a while now. You would think that they would have this worked out, and then it would just be a matter of, hey, pay for this hair cosmetic, pay for this tattoo cosmetic, whatever it might be. Now, okay, this is coming to us free, but once again, it's free, but shouldn't that have been in the original launch of the game? I mean, this is running legit with Conan, just like new skinned armors. Dynamic encounters. This is the problem with the dynamic encounters that they have in the game currently. It's usually you see a big ship that's floating with a spotlight going, and if you get caught, things come out of the sky. I have like purposefully jumped into that just so I could fight them to see what comes out of it. But there's really no incentive to do these type of dynamic encounters that they have. The vast, and I mean the absolute vast majority of the people playing this game just avoid those things because they don't feel like getting caught up in fighting 5 or 6 more difficult NPCs inside of the desert somewhere out there just randomly. So unless they can try to make these new dynamic encounters like incentivized, like with better loot or something that is more engaging, like they're absolutely just a filler element that is never being used, a wasted mechanic basically in the game. Now, September 10th is coming soon, and we will, I mean, they didn't show that much with this trailer, but, I mean, everything that they said was coming is coming. You saw the vehicle. You notice this not plural, it's just said vehicle now. I believe the original was vehicles. Let me have a peek here. Just to pop that screen back up. What happened to it? Did I put it down? Main story, quest lines, new. No, it was always just new vehicle. My bad. I stand corrected. I was wrong in this case. So, I mean, new vehicle. But once again, that new vehicle is literally a ground vehicle. Nobody uses ground vehicles unless you are mining aluminum or something along those lines. Like you don't get used in this game at all. So thanks for giving us another vehicle that we can put in our garage and just never use. The side story, okay, Imperial testing stations, we already have these, but maybe they are giving us different Imperial testing station layouts. That'll be cool because after you run through those Imperial testing stations often enough, you kind of just get a hang of how they work, and it's just like a repetitive thing. Like each week it just gets shuffled up in a different area, so maybe there'll be different testing stations to explore. That'll be cool. Building pieces, yeah, decorations, okay, armor sets, yes, we know, weapon skins, okay, emote, great, we can wave to somebody. With the free update content, the new story continues. As I've already said, main story continues is a very vague thing. We don't know how big it's going to be. We don't know how engaging it's going to be. We don't know what the absolute incentives of doing it is going to be. In part of the side quest stories, when you get that side story, these traditionally in Dune so far have been the skill masters. So there is incentive to do those things. But now you're just going to throw a side story in if they're not like propositioning us to see that there's some kind of incentive. Maybe they don't have one and they just made a side story and they hope people are going to do it. Recustomization, as I said before, is going to be great. Dynamic encounters, once again, kind of a hollow concept because no incentive to really do them. Contracts. I know when I first started playing, I was doing those contracts from all the starting areas in the Haga Basin, but at some point it just didn't become important because more or less those contracts were overshadowed by needing to do the Landsraad. So why would I go do contracts when Landsraad gives me stuff that I actually need? Armors, hairstyles, tattoos. Okay, great. Look, overall, once again, I'm not hating on Funcom. I don't mind Funcom as a company. They're no different than the vast majority of companies out there. They're going to drip content. They're going to ask for money so that they can continue development. And there's always going to be some group of people that are over these developers telling them, you have to make money for us. Understood. I just want there to be a very adequate decision made at the highest level to try to actually make this game viable for a long-term future, make a real long-term future plan. If you take a look once again at the overall roadmap that they've given us, it isn't really looking all that seriously well thought out. Chapter 2, great. This is what it looks like. They put a lot of thought into chapter 2, and then they said, let's make a roadmap and show people that we're actually going to do stuff out in the future. But I mean, then you go revamped in-game and more. What? To be revealed. So it just gets more vague as the roadmap goes down the line. This isn't, in my opinion, a well thought out roadmap. You look at games like Path of Exile 2, you look at Last Epoch, you look at, whatever, pick a game. I'm not going to sit here and list them. Usually a development team that has a well thought out dev plan actually has really decent positive information that they are posting in that roadmap that is showing that there's definite improvements and definite concepts which are going to make this game fun for people in the future. I'm not seeing it here. I'm seeing a lot of vagueness. So this is telling me that Funcom needs to kind of rethink what it is they are doing. And I hope that they are able to pull this out because I love Dune. I hope that I can play it for years into the future, and I hope that we are able to maintain a community. But at this point, I'm starting to get a little bit worried that these guys are not exactly thinking out everything that they need to and looking at the issues at hand. I think they are just pulling stuff out of their ass as they go and throwing it on a table and saying, okay, this is what we can do. Let's not worry about the future until we can get this done. Please, Funcom, make this a great game for us. As always, thank you guys for coming and have a great day.